always striving for more, and it's important to sit and look and see how far you've come.
Yeah.
You know.
Rae, what's up?
What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
How's your day so far?
It's going good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Man, I just driving here, getting ready for this, and got some plans later, but happy to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You getting crazy later?
No, I'm not the crazy type anymore. We're just talking about this. We're getting older, you know. I'll be 28 next month, so yeah, just trying to mellow down.
So you're from Torrance,
California.
How's growing up there?
It was cool. Very multicultural, so hodgepodge of communities, middle class area.
Yeah.
I feel like we're our generation, we're the last to have that.
In what way? What do you mean?
We're the last to have that just, I don't know, nostalgic-esque childhood of playing outside and, you know, running around.
That's something I actually think about so often, that like, you know how they say that like there was a day that you and your friends left the park for the last time and no one knew?
Right.
I don't feel like this generation's never going to experience that. Like
No.
I feel like they're not going to be able to touch grass, like
Right.
for lack of better terms.
And now we sound like the people that were older than us, just like old and like everything's changing. Now we sound like that.
And the thing is, I'm actually curious to see how that you not stepping outside reflects in the next generation's art, because a lot of this shit is you stepping outside and bringing in what you learned outside into the art.
Right, right. Your understanding of the external.
So where is Torrance in, because I told you I'm not from here.
Yeah.
Where is it in like respective to LA?
So downtown LA, 30 minutes south.
Cool.
So it's a beach town, surrounded by Redondo Beach, Lomita, Carson. When I say Torrance, people usually don't know, so I'm like, let me think of a city that's close, but not really. So I'm like Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just like a border town that's like right on the coast of California.
So I was living in Orange County before, and it was actually funny. We were talking about this off camera. There's something called, like, I don't know if it's a term. I think I made it up. There's something called like the orange curtain,
Right.
where it's just like, it's really hard to penetrate on the creative level being outside in like OC. Because from the outside perspective, I would think that like it's all just greater LA area and everyone's just kind of like one community, but like being here more, I'm starting to realize that like, oh no, like it's not all just LA.
Yeah, no, it's so vast. And I think that's the difference between like a place like New York City and this. It's like New York, everything's so condensed.
Yeah.
Here, everything's so spaced out, right? I have friends who went to college in Pomona, you know, or like, and yeah, there's creative people out there. It's just, you know, far from the scene of like what's going on in North Hollywood or what's going on, you know, in other places like that. So I totally get it. I mean, I'm from Torrance, so I'm not gonna rep Orange County, no offense to you.
Oh, no,
but
no.
LA
I'm
County.
not from Orange County.
I know, no.
I just lived there for 6 months.
No, but yeah, no, I'm LA County area, but we are a suburb town on the outskirts. So no, there's not a lot of culture or community when it comes to music and art, because it's more of like raising families. But you know, growing up in the LA area, it's like easy to commute and get to where you need to go if you have a car, you know. So growing up, I would say like right out of high school, me wanting to do music and stuff, we were doing gigs in like Whittier, Downey, you know, places that aren't necessarily LA, but you know, just trying to get out there.
That's what I was gonna lead into. Being, I guess, on more of the outskirts of LA, was it like hard to penetrate the community here?
No, I tell this to my friends that are transplants. It's like you just have to immerse yourself in that culture, you know? Transplants being like, I am from, you know, Minnesota, but
I came here.
I have a random one-bedroom apartment in Koreatown now. Where do I go? It's like, oh, well, just go to Hollywood, go to your open mics, local ones, you know? Get on Instagram and find people that are like-minded and, you know.
Without getting in trouble, what is like the view on transplants here? Because it's like, part of me gets it because there's only a few places in the country to really make the music shit go, which is New York, LA, Atlanta.
Right.
But I also feel like when you have all these people like coming in, it kind of makes everything else more expensive, and like maybe like a more or less appreciation of the people who already have been living here and trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Transplants, I feel like the people that talk the most shit on LA being like, you know, terrible are like, are people that aren't from here. Because, you know, I totally feel like if I didn't know anyone and just dropped myself in Hollywood, it would I could totally see that being like a lonely spot.
Yeah.
Meeting people that aren't really the best or have the best intentions.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know, I think just really focusing in on what it is you want to do and finding that community wherever you live.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, it's like the place you live is like what you make it.
How was high school?
High school was cool.
Yeah.
I was nominated prom queen. I was runner-up. I'm not mad about it.
No
I
way.
should probably stop talking about it, but yeah, I had a good time. Most people are like, high school sucked. I'm like the one person that's like, I had a great time.
Everyone experiences and like finds out who they are in high school, and there's the other part where it's like they're kind of more cooped up at home, like, oh, fuck high school.
Yeah.
I loved high school.
Yeah.
What were you listening to in high school?
Oh man, Childish Gambino, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Biggie, a lot of East Coast rap, Chance the Rapper, Currency. I was just really, really into rap music. Not more than I am now, but just in like a discovery mode. And like, it just filled me with so much feelings of wonder, like, oh my God, the potential. And
I don't think people talk about the impact of like the 2012 to 2013 run enough. That like, if you think of it, like in 2012, 2013, we had like Gambino drop, we had Chance drop, and I feel like that's when like music kind of split into two. It's like, you're either like the Chance and Tyler kids, or you're like the Waka Flocka, the 2 Chainz,
right,
exactly.
Young Thug and shit. I was late to the trap movement.
Me too.
It wasn't until I was working at these weed shops before it was legal, so it was trap shops.
Oh shit.
Cash only, illegal, you know, work hours. And so I'd hear like Young Dolph and Thug and Lil Uzi, and just, I don't know, I think being immersed in that culture a bit made me like get an understanding of that music, but I definitely was late to that culture. I was more of like a Tyler, Chance.
Yeah, like for me, I think we were talking about off camera, acid rap, super important album to me. Wolf, Tyler's album.
Oh yeah, I'm more of Cherry Bomb. That like I was
Really?
I was late again, like, so you know, because I'm from this area. Like I remember Odd Future days, the Frank days. So I had my opinions of the early Tyler music. Like I didn't really, like I'm not
gory.
like super PC, but I just didn't like saying faggot all the time.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like not, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah. So it took me a while to really get into him, and I love so many songs on Wolf. But Cherry Bomb, I feel like, was like, this is some of the best music I've...
Cherry Bomb is one of those albums, it's either you loved it,
right,
or you're like, what the fuck is
right,
this?
Yeezus vibes, yeah.
Literally. Did you get into producing in high school? Because you were making beats on your phone, no?
Yeah, I still dabble on iMachine on my phone, but yeah, that was like what it was. Like, we're gonna try and make beats on our phones and like, you know.
Is that when you first started making music?
Yeah, I was, again, a late bloomer. I was a theater kid, so I just loved music and wanted to do Broadway, and again, was obsessed with New York. So when I got to high school, it's just like smoking weed, listening to hip hop crazy. Was like, oh shit, I think I want to rap. And then I was supposed to go to a college for musical theater, and I deferred my enrollment. I was like, I think I want to do music, I don't know. So then, yeah, my mom was like, okay, if you're not gonna go to school, you gotta get a job. So I I tried Santa Monica College for a bit. That didn't work. Then I started getting into the weed game. So then
start slanging?
Slanging weed, making rhymes, making beats. And yeah, I just kept getting better, but it took a minute.
I feel like, and there's something you talk about a lot in other interviews, it's artist development. I feel like there is definitely a pro to like blowing up at 18. as opposed to starting at 18, but also I feel like when you start like, I guess later in life, because I'm looking at like, you know, like the Jordan Wards, who else kind of got a break in their careers later in their 20s. There's a few examples I can pull from, but I feel like once you start later, you're going in it with more intention and maturity.
Right.
As opposed to just like, I blew up for my first idea when I was 18.
No, right. I mean, I think the biggest example of that is Jay-Z. I mean, he talks about it like his first album came out when he was 26, and he already was a millionaire from, you know, his other illegal activities. Not
it was already set.
The miscellaneous vibes, but yeah, no, the fact that he was able to get to know himself, figure out the type of person he is, what he wants to talk about, I think, you know, gave him a little bit of a boost rather than someone like Snoop Dogg or Nas who started at 19, made some of their best work at 19, and has to like live up to that. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I had time, you know. But again, I was on the Rhythm and Flow show at 22, so.
We're gonna get into that.
I mean, I know, right? 22 is not really that old, you know.
Yeah,
so,
no, it's still relatively young.
Right. But yeah, no, to be able to put out like my first major label debut at 26, 27 really, I think was great timing.
You're a music nerd.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back on making beats, do you know how they have like the type beats on YouTube? Mm-hmm. What is the Rae Khalil type beat?
Oh man, that's a good one. Probably like Wiz Khalifa type beat. Yeah, like, yeah.
In terms of instrumentation, like.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa Currency mixtape type beat. Like, yeah, something like with maybe a nice sample in the back with some cool like hi-hats and 808s scattered in there. Yeah.
So you started making beats and you started experimenting with music in high school. I know you talk about like the pre-2019 phase where you're just like, I don't want people to hear these songs. Like that was when you're experimenting. When was that point, like through experimentation, where you're like, oh shit, like I have something?
Yeah, I think that started in 2018. I was working on For the World back then, before Girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like with the concept, and some songs ended up staying, but yeah, I was working on the concept back then and had just met Jared Rubens, and I just feel like I was in a flow where I feel like, okay, I had a friend say to me, you know, because back then, SoundCloud era, I just was about, let me just put out as many songs as I can. And,
yeah.
You know, one is gonna catch. And
the Rust formula.
Right, and my friend was just like, well, what if you just sit on what you think is your best and continually work on that and just see what happens? And I remember being like, that's such a dumb idea. Like, you put your best shit out.
Yeah.
But then I just started doing that, like for years, you know, like, and I just really feel like that has changed and kind of like directed what kind of artist I want to be, like very songwriter driven, just always trying to make music that makes me feel good, you know, not trying to compete with anyone, just myself, and holding on to my best shit and releasing it when I feel like it's time.
I feel like that's the best way to go about it too, because I feel like if people get stuck in chasing like trends,
Right.
and again, something I told you off camera, my first impression of CRYBABY was like, oh, she fucking loves music. It's not like creating songs to fit like this new trend that's coming.
Or an algorithm, right?
The algorithm. It's like being very intentional with the music that you're making. Mm-hmm. There was a period of time that you talk about, there was a year off that you took. Mm-hmm. And going back to CRYBABY, the song you just performed, which was sick, it starts off by something that really spoke to me, that like you have to, now it's not only about betting on yourself, but it's betting on yourself every single day. For that year, when you were just trying to make something work, because you had like a job that, like, did you quit the job just to go full on to music, or how did that go?
Yeah, the weed jobs. I like basically was like, yeah, even though I'm making cash all day plus tips,
yeah.
you know, maybe I should put all my energy into writing music. And I just had such a great mom and parental figure in my life, and she kind of allowed me like, yeah, okay, I'll give you a year to just do your thing, and I'll try my best to maintain the situation. And it wasn't, I say that like it was easy. It definitely wasn't easy. And there were times where I felt like, damn, I should get a job because things are stressful. But, you make sacrifices and you believe in yourself when no one else does. But luckily I had my mom, so she allowed me that time. And that time, I think, really just helped me refine my pen.
This was like out of high school, right?
This was 4 years out of high school.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that 4 years, so I graduated in 2014.
Yeah.
So from 2014 to 2018, I spent years just taking any gigs, doing shows for free, open mics, working this job, writing music, maybe getting an opportunity, not working out. So it was just, it wasn't just like right away. And 2018, I kind of feel like everything was just cataclysmically right. Everything aligned.
All the stars.
Jared, like my most frequent producer I work with. I met my band the year before. Just things were aligning. So then when I was working on my first album, that's when I got the call to do that Netflix show. So yeah, I just feel like, the trajectory, maybe for some people, this time around with this album, it looks like things are happening overnight, but it's a beautiful process.
People don't understand how much shit goes behind the scenes. And it's also like, I don't know if you can relate to this. One thing, a part of it too, is that like, when you're in that like in-between phase, you kind of see people who, and no shame, right? Some people want the comfortable way where it's just like, they want the job, they want the house, whatever.
Right.
And you see people kind of like taking that route while you're still very much hustling.
Right.
And you feel like, at least for me, you feel like you're kind of like falling behind chasing like this fucking fever dream.
Oh, I felt like that multiple times. I look back at my climb to even where I'm at now, which I still have more ways to go, but I look back and I'm just like, wow, how did I have the confidence? Was it confidence or was it delusion? Like, how did I just assume that this was gonna work out or just not stop, So I think you just, again, how we talked about earlier, just immersing yourself in what you wanna do. Don't listen to any other shit, any other noise, what's going on in the world. And it's something will come out of that, because that's just how the world works. Like, it's like fucking gardening, you know? You put a seed in the fucking dirt, and it doesn't come the next day, but you fucking water it, you let the sun do its thing, and it goes through a cycle, and then all of a sudden, you have a whole vegetable.
You have a whole fucking tree.
Right.
So was that year when you took off, was that just you just like locking in for a straight year? Like, what was your routine?
Yeah, my routine, wake up, hit the bong, check my emails for beats, right? And just write songs all day. And like,
all day?
Yeah, like there were some times where I didn't even eat one day, or like maybe drink water once. And that's like an obsession, but I feel like, again,
you have to be that obsessed.
Exactly, everyone talks about having balance, right? But when you work at something, it's probably gonna be an imbalance, I think of like Kobe Bryant, like that Mamba mentality, R.I.P. of like, the job's not finished, It just one time of success doesn't mean that that's all it takes, you gotta keep going and keep going and keep going, so, yeah.
Do you feel like right now you're in a point in your career where you can kind of take a little step back? Because the one thing about going super hard for super long, you burn out.
Right.
Because we're not machines.
Exactly.
We're fucking humans. Do you feel like right now you can comfortably like, okay, like I can take some time for myself? Or when you hit like a roadblock, it's like, okay, let me just stop this and like just go enjoy.
Well, we're on Beans and Bars, so this is a great platform to talk about this. No, I feel like I put out an R&B album, so it's like, well, now we gotta put out the rap album. So,
one after the next, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just working on that.
Year goes by, the Netflix show happens. I'm not gonna bore you with too many questions about the Netflix show, because I know you've been getting this a lot. But one thing that I'm interested in about that Netflix show is that, I think it's cool that we can talk about this in hindsight, because like you've done so much in your career and like you've, proven yourself as an artist a very capable artist many times over. What I'm interested in is that like, I feel like, and I could be making an assumption where I feel like, you know, when you're going into a show like that, was there more added pressure to be like, I'm not this fucking reality TV star, I'm an artist and this is what I do? Was there like a more added pressure to prove yourself as an artist?
No, you know, because I think I'm so in love with hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
But even before I was a rapper, you know, such a fan. And me feeling like I was at a point in my life, I'm 22, I feel like my raps are good enough. I can compete. You know, it's like I just wanted to be a fan. I just wanted to like show up for the culture of it all. So it like, and yeah, in the back of my mind, it's like, oh my God, I can fucking sing too. I'm totally gonna win. Like I just I had that in the back of my mind, but it wasn't. Nothing was scary to me. It was just like, wow, this is the fucking opportunity I've been waiting for. I have a poster of Chance and Snoop Dogg in my room. Like, that's
crazy.
This is weird. Like,
was that weird going from listening to his music? Because we were just talking about like how much acid rap meant to being judged by him. Yeah, it's like you can't even make that shit up. It was just like I felt like I was in like an episode of The Twilight Zone. I mean, this is like, and then on top of that, meeting Anderson .Paak, episode 1, like that scene. And that was
my
surprise too, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. The scene that you watch is literally us walking out and seeing these people. And like I think Ventura had just dropped or Oxnard had just dropped, and you know at that time I'm like,
dude,
the biggest fan of both of these people.
Was probably one of my favorite because that year 2018 you had Oxnard, you had some rap songs. It was everyone in the industry decided to drop that year. I think Oxnard was probably like my favorite that year.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, just talk about how life works. You're looking at like the biggest Anderson .Paak fan, and like from like 2015 to like. Until I met him, I guess. So until I had to like calm down about it. But like, yeah, no, it's so crazy how everything worked out. But to answer your question, I didn't feel scared or like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm a reality TV star. More so, let me just show up and do what
myself.
Exactly. Let me just show up and do what I think I can do.
Is that where the relationship with Anderson .Paak happened, through that show? No,
that's what's so crazy about all of this. Really? Yeah, so after the show, I had gotten in touch with Queen Latifah's manager, which was like just random. Yeah. And his sons were working on, they had this publishing company at the time. So I don't know if you're familiar with this song Firefly that I have, but
yeah, I am.
So they liked that song and they were like, hey, we want to do like a contract with you, like a sync licensing thing for this song. So it's like, oh my God, no way. So that was like the start of our relationship. I started to get to know Queen Latifah's manager, and one day we were in a meeting, and he was like, "You're gonna be this big star." He's like, "Is there anybody like you want to work with? Like I can make anything happen." Like, you know, and I'm just sitting there like, "What? This is insane."
It's probably crazy to you hearing that, like just getting your first feet in the industry.
Right, and this is like the Netflix show hasn't even aired yet, so this is like this is during 2019. I got off the show, I think, in February, so this must be like April, and the show doesn't come out till October. So I'm working with these guys. He's like, yeah, is there any, this is what I'm working on For the World.
Okay.
So I'm telling him I'm working on this album. I have some songs that I'd like to maybe get a feature on. So I play them all-star, and he's like, oh, I know of a band that you could get with. Have you heard of the Free Nationals?
Fuck yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, wait, what? And he calls up one of them, Kelsey Gonzalez, who's now one of my really good friends, calls him up, and I'm thinking, I hear the name Kelsey, I'm thinking, oh, this must be a manager, a lady on the phone trying to organize something. But no, he just contacted the Free Nationals directly, and then, you know, maybe like 2 days later, we get in the studio and make All Star. So it was like, what the fuck? So I started to get to know the Free Nationals on my own. Mm-hmm. Long story short, it was so random. I was in San Francisco just with my girlfriend hanging out, and T Nava from Free Nats calls me. He's like, yo, what's up? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm in San Francisco. He's like, no way, me too. What? He's like, yeah, let's hang out. I'm with Anderson, I'm with everybody. And I'm like, no fucking way. And so I'm like, okay, send me your address, your location.
Yeah.
I'll be there. He's like, I'm at blah, blah, blah hotel. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm at blah, blah, blah hotel.
Oh, you guys were in the same hotel?
Yeah, they were like in another floor.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I just felt like, you know, I haven't seen him since the show, maybe like a couple months before. I feel like they'll think I'm stalking them. This is just such a weird coincidence. So I really didn't want to go. I was like, no, they're gonna think that we're weird. But no, I ended up going, and that's how we became friends. He was like, oh, you from the show. And then we started drinking, hanging out. And it was like, yo, we should hang out in LA. And then, yeah, months later, he had like a Halloween party. And then I went, and he was like, oh, you again.
You just kept showing up.
Yeah, we just kept seeing each other. And then it was during COVID. He called me. He said, what are you doing? I'll never forget this. I was just like in my room. You know, I'm in my room. It's COVID. What are you talking about?
Yeah, literally.
And he's
world's locked down.
Yeah, and he's like, I need you to come to the studio. And he was very vague. And I was like, okay, like, this is so cool. And I'll never forget, I'm like driving on the 110, and it's like a ghost town. There's like literally not a single car on the freeway.
That must have been nice living like LA zero traffic.
It was insane though.
Yeah.
I mean, I got down there. I mean, I live in Long Beach, and he's, you know, up in LA. So
Yeah.
that's like a 40, 50-minute drive usually. It took me 20 minutes to get there.
That's crazy.
It was insane. But as I'm driving on the freeway, there's like 6 like SUV cop cars on both sides of me, like trailing down. It just was an eerie sight, you know. I'm driving through downtown LA on the 110. All these fucking cop cars are coming by. I'm just like, what a time we're living in. Get to his studio, and then we end up making Lockdown. Like you know, so it's just like, what the you know, life is so crazy how things just happen. And us winning that Grammy kind of is what made us, I think, oh, we're actually friends.
How was that feeling like, taking home a Grammy?
It was surreal, you know. I've just been a nerd of, you know, I told you, I want to do Broadway, so I've always wanted to be Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, like that EGOT type of person. So to get that was just it felt like my 8-year-old self had like passed out of full excitement and joy, you know?
Speaking of Broadway, one thing that I love about CRYBABY is that it's very like grand in the production. Did you like, is that kind of like elements of like Broadway musical theater music like seeping into like how you look at like constructing songs?
I think so, but I think it's by accident. Like,
yeah, it's like unintentional.
Yeah, because I just want things to be dramatic. Like, you know, growing up in the early 2000s, like when you sign to a major label, it's like the thing, you know? And that song, the first song you come out with, and the track 1 on the album, like it has to be this grandiose thing.
Good ass intro.
Exactly, right, exactly, just like acid rap. So I just had that in mind of like, I just want to do it big, you know? If I have that major label budget, I want real instruments, and I want strings.
Yeah, exactly,
and
like
what
real
else
strings,
can we
not
do?
VST.
Right, like let's get crazy, like, you know what I mean?
You had CRYBABY, and then I guess comparing and contrasting like a major label debut versus like more of like, you know, independent on your own.
Yeah.
How was that different in terms of like how you're making the music now? Like, does it go back to that? It's like more grandiose, like, and now like people are checking in on the music.
Right.
Like,
man, I think kind of like what I said just now, like, oh, I can have people that, you know, like a quartet come in. I can have, you know, some of the best players in the country come and put guitar on my song, you know, just because they respect Anderson so much and like the song, you know?
Yeah.
I can get Freddie Gibbs to, you know, potentially get on a song. Yeah, and we just shot a music video for that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
So it should come out soon, but it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Was it, Anderson's like a person that like you were listening to, and like you just said like one of your favorite albums. How was it like going from someone that you listened to now is like, you know, mentor / business partner / like very involved in your music?
It took a while, you know. I think we met in 2019, right? So that's like 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now. So I think the first 3 years of knowing him, it was just like, it probably took that long to be like, oh my God.
Like, oh my God. Yeah.
I really love your music. Like every time we'd hang out and get drunk with each other, I'd end up being like, I just really love your music. You're really amazing. You know?
The fan never left.
No, it didn't. But then now it's just like, yeah, it just feels right. You know, I feel that I'm at a point now where the music that I'm making is at a certain level. And I feel like I'm in the right rooms, I'm in the right spaces, you know? But it took me a long time. Like, I'd be like, at dinner and it's just me and Thundercat and Anderson, and it's just like, what the fuck, you know, inside I'm just like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I'd be freaking out.
But now when it's the three of us, it's like, okay, yeah, I fit now. Like I work hard.
You feel like this is where I belong.
Yeah, this is like my group of people. Like, and it's crazy because I love all their music, you know?
How was NxWorries working on that album?
That was such a fun period of time. It was really cool to
watch.
watch.
Were you in the studio with Knowledge and Anderson, or like?
Not in the making of Walk On By, no. But Knowledge is an enigma, you know. So he comes and he goes and he floats in, he floats out.
You know where he is.
Yeah, I think we were in New York when they did a NxWorries set in Prospect Park, and that was really the first time me and Knowledge were like, he's like really like music. I'm like, no fucking way. Like, you know, we got to connect.
And I feel like Knowledge is one of those people, he doesn't like much like other people's music.
No,
he's like very particular who he likes.
Right, so that was a pretty cool flex. But it's just a trip, you know. I've been around for a while with this, you know, in the ape shit Paak, so no pun intended, Paak.
Yeah.
I saw, you know, the making of Silk Sonic. I saw the making of NxWorries, so I'm honored. And the NxWorries stuff was really cool to witness and watch him change. You know, he likes to play, we're kind of the same where he really loves track listing and the order and how everything goes. So to watch that shift through time, and I think 86 Centra and Move On were originally one song.
Oh, no way. I can see that though.
Yeah.
Now that you said, I can see that.
Yeah, and him being like, nah, fuck it, let's cut it up. I just like how it goes right in.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just to be a part of those cool things. And the Walk On By, just random. Like I don't,
Really?
Oh, it was so random. I was just in the room, it's 5 a.m., he's singing that part. He's like, I don't want to sing that, you sing that. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, okay. And that's how that happened. But Out the Way was kind of that was originally the title of the album. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but fuck it.
We can cut it out. Oh, really?
Excuse me. But before Wylod, it was called Out the Way. So I was like, holy shit, like I'm on the song
that's fucking
album
crazy.
is called, you know. But I think Wylod's way better of a
title.
title.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just fits more.
It fits in with Yes Lord.
Exactly.
Talk to me about Crybaby.
Shit, took 4 years. Everything takes so long with me, but yeah, it took.
It's better that way.
Right, yeah. I work on music, so there's some song, I just work on music all the time. So there are songs that I love that I was working on while making Crybaby that will probably go on this next album that I'm working on, you know? So nothing's really linear, but I feel like for this R&B project, I wanted to make a statement, just like I know how to make songs. And this is a collection of R&B songs that tell my story, show you what I can do, but don't expect this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and I'll probably hear that, you know, I feel like I really love this album. I think it's really strong, and I feel like people will want more of this. And I'm down, but it's just not, I don't want to be boxed in as an R&B artist or a rap artist. I want to be
an artist.
An artist that makes fucking black music, like, cause it's a big umbrella, you know? Like She's a Bore is not it's just not a rap song. It's a stretch to say it's an R&B song in my opinion. You know, I think
it's like funky.
That's what my brother says.
Yeah.
Like, this is such a funky song. And I'm like, really? Because I hear country.
Really?
I hear that twang.
Oh, the dong dong,
exactly, right. It's more rocky, but like I do hear the funk in it. But it's great that it's genre bending.
That's what I was gonna say. I was so impressed of how you went to so many different places sonically, but it all still like makes sense. How was that like process? Like I guess like filtering out, like cutting out, like okay, this is
It's just a feeling. Like I really can't explain it. Like that's honestly such a big compliment when you say that, because it really just feels like like I didn't.
It's like a movie.
Hell yeah, that's so awesome. When I first played it for Def Jam, they were like, this really runs like a movie. I'm like, no way, that's so awesome.
Shit.
Yeah, it's super cool. But yeah, no, some songs that were taken off, it just didn't feel the same.
Yeah, for sure.
So so that's just that was the only reason, Like the reason why Hot Track is #1, it just felt like that feels like the first song.
It does. It really sets the tone, because it's a very like, here's my heart kind of album. Like you're talking about like relationships, career, where you are in life. And one thing that I wanted to ask is that like putting something and this is something I always ask artists because I'm always honestly intrigued by it. Putting something that's like so vulnerable to you and like I'm opening my soul bare for you guys. Is that always kind of like, is there like any nervousness that comes behind that? Are you kind of like, fuck, like now like my heart is open to critique kind of thing? Like,
right. That's such a good question. That whole question that you just asked, I think I answered that with the first word of Hot Track, because I think that's the theme of the whole album of like, I really couldn't worry anyway. I couldn't worry, I shouldn't worry about what people think of this, what the label thinks of this, what like, I couldn't, because this is what I'm supposed to do. This feels right to me. And I'm betting on myself every time.
Yeah.
So then that is what is about to, what you're about to listen to. You know, I couldn't worry anyway if people didn't fuck with it, if it's not selling. You know,
because it means something to you.
Right. And that's kind of the theme. And that's, I think Crybaby really goes with that, because it's like emotional and like dramatic and like, this is me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Pouty. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, was there like a particular song that was like your favorite to make on the album?
Cisco's song.
I love that.
Was a fun one. It was great. Cisco did everything right there in 30 minutes. He played everything, and I was just like, damn. It was just such a, it was great. Come Home is a great one. That's a great story because.
I love that beat.
Oh, thanks. Well, Khalil, he made the beat.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, he's really talented. I wrote that song. There was a song on there that was in its place that had some pretty famous people on it that didn't get cleared in time, but it would have been crazy. It might get cleared for the deluxe, so I don't want to spoil anything too much.
Oh, there's a deluxe coming?
I might have spoiled too much.
Okay.
No, so the song wasn't getting cleared, and I was like, well, I need an up-tempo song for this album for it to work. It's just gonna be too slow if there's not one crazy upbeat one. So I hit up Khalil, asked if he has any beats. He sends me this song. I'm in New York for probably 2 more days. I booked a studio. I have about 4 hours to come up with a song.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, let me go get some weed. Let me go get some tobacco to roll a spliff. And when I come back, I'm gonna write this song. And I had to walk to the smoke shop, and I think the smoke shop was like 15 minutes away. And I wrote that song on that walk, which I just love that story, because it's like, it was just, and how we talk about how much I love that city, how vibrant it is.
So it was very
energy.
impulsive.
There's so many people walking through, and I'm listening to the instrumental in my headphones, and just like, you know, so it's just, that was a really cool moment. It just felt like, kind of like an Amazing Race or Fear Factor moment. Like, you have only this amount of time. Are you gonna be able to do it? Can you make this song happen?
How was getting the Freddie Gibbs feature?
That was insane. I had another rapper on there originally. Won't tell you the name of him. But he's sitting in his verse, and it was like muffled, and it just like his energy, and it sounded like he was asked to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay.
Oh yeah, he was phoned in.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, I really like your music, but at the end of the day, this is my project, and if it sounds flat on a beat like this, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna watch this and be like, you bitch. No, but so I'm like, one day I'm on the phone with Andy, and I'm like, yo man, this shit is just fucked up. Like, he wouldn't re-record it. I like hit him up, hey, can you re-record the verse? And he's like, he didn't respond. So he like left me on scene.
That's the classic response in this music industry.
Right,
Just no
left
response.
on scene. I really would have respected just like a no. Like, way better, like N-O. That's like,
I always tell people this, like, just tell me no.
Right.
I don't give a like, I'll be okay.
I'm a big girl, right?
Yeah,
I'm a big guy.
gonna be okay.
Yeah,
But don't like ghost me.
Exactly. So this guy ended up ghosting me, and I'm just like, man, I'm just like verge of tears on the phone with this guy. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, this song I really need, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, man, fuck it, we'll figure it out. We'll get Freddie on it. And he knows that Freddie Gibbs is like my favorite rapper. The past couple albums he's dropped, I'd say since Bandana or Pinata, have been
Bandana's like one of my top now.
like top.
Yeah,
like
no,
Alfredo.
it's like getting scarily up in my top.
Yeah, no, he's got a new one coming.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, you
don't
just
want to
spoiled
drop
me.
too much, but he's got a new one coming that's so fucking fantastic. But anyways, he's like just so cavalierly, like, yeah, we'll just get Freddie Gibbs to do it. I'm like, fuck you, like, you're lying, you're just saying this to get me off my back. And maybe like 2 months later, we're kicking it at Andy's house. He loves to play music really loud, and while there's people hanging out. And all of a sudden, that song comes on. It's my song. I'm listening, and I'm like, okay, cool. He's playing the demo for everyone. I think I'm like rolling a blunt, and all of a sudden I hear like tick, 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 and I like just lose my shit. Like, and he like played it as like a surprise, and it was like, wow, what a good friend. You know, he knew that I was so stressed out about like who can I get. He knew Freddie Gibbs was like my ultimate dream to get on that song. So yeah, he's just a real homie, you know. And shout out AP, obviously, but
shout them out.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you want people to come out of CRYBABY, what is it?
As a fan, personally, of my music, I would really want people to be just excited for what's to come, like whatever that looks like. I would just be excited, you know, for music in general from this camp, because I feel like we're gonna.
So what's next?
Have a long career ahead of us. I'm gonna drop something soon, but not soonish.
Okay.
I'd rather say soonish, but not soon. That's a better way to do it.
Soonish.
In the new year.
Okay, word.
So it's not soon, but it's soonish.
Soonish.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like Frank Ocean soon.
Right, yeah. And I want people to know that. Like, I don't want to wait another 4 years for a new album, you know? And I was working on other music while making CRYBABY, so I feel like we're in a good spot, you know?
I want to end this off like this. If the Rae from 4, or let's say that one year we were talking about where you had to lock in, if that Rae saw you what you're doing right now, what would her reaction be?
I think she would be so proud, and I think that's something that I need to remember, right? Because we always, like that Mamba mentality, right? We're always striving for more, and it's important to sit and look and see how far you've come, you know? And I think I struggle with that right now.
Me too, yeah.
Because it's like, I just put out this album, but I don't want people to think that's all I have, and I have all these ideas, but it's like in due time, you know? Don't rush the process, you know?
Absolutely not.
So yeah.
On that note, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at?
Rae Khalil, RaeKhalil, everywhere, at Rae Khalil.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, man.